Oh, you already know somebody better tell me to sit down because every time I hear that song, I'm not only reminded that it's Tuesday, but sometimes I'm reminded to get up and shake it up a little bit, you know? Hey, y'all, it is Master Force Radio, and we are excited to be on WBRO Soul, bringing to you what Men Say Tuesday. That's right. This is the fourth Tuesday of October, and we are going to have an exciting conversation. Oh, baby, let me tell you, you all need to get ready for this. But before we talk to our guest, you know we have to talk to Mother Mecca and find out what the heck is all this energy going on in the universe. Mother Mecca, please explain. How you doing, girl?
Woo! That's all I want to say first. I'm doing well, and what weather wanderers. It's Mother Mecca 115, and I have to check on you first because I know some of you are just you need to brace yourselves, okay? Because of course the energy does things different, based on us and our signs and just everything that we're going through. So this is going to be a weather report from Cosmic Weather Report from October 23rd to November 2nd. And just to help you slow it down some, I'm going to slow it down
Yes.
because I know that it is so much that's going on. I felt like I'm not even some of it I'm like I'm saving that to next week because it is so much going on. But I want to make sure that you guys are doing well. I want to always remind you to please journal. Please breathe and make sure that your week, reflect on your week last week. And I know these days, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I know it has been going full force. Okay. Now I'm amazed at how I have had peace and I felt stable. But again, like Moose said last week, we are Capricorn. So us being in Saturn and that's who's ruling at that time. Well, Saturn is always doing something. We're able to find that balance within ourselves. So whichever way, whatever waves, whatever the ride comes or whatever it's doing, we're able to move with that. And so I also practice, like I'm telling you, I practice my breathing and I practice journaling, and that helps me balance myself because if you don't do that, it's just so much. It's like I know some of you are feeling like, it's here. What's going on? Because it is so much going on. So let's get into this cosmic weather, for this week, October 23rd to November 2nd. So you already know because of how this weather is performing. Weather wanderers, if you are not understanding what's happening, well, here we go. So Sunday, the sun moved into and Venus both entered Scorpio. Okay, so hey, Scorpios. And right after that, like midnight, the moon entered Scorpio, and we had also a solar eclipse at the Scorpio new moon. Okay, and Mercury will enter Scorpio on the 29th of October. So right there, that is just saying so much happened. Scorpio brings about intense emotions, many of the dark feelings, such as jealousy and hatred, which normally many people try to hide. During this season, with Scorpio ruling the planet right now, all of those hidden dark feelings will come to light. This is time for truth. You're not going to be able to hide it. Okay. You're not going to be able to suppress it. You're not going to be able to stand in the shadow of it. Okay. This will give us time to reflect on self denial and diminishment. So you are not going to be able to stay in this background of false truth. You need to get ready to truth tell. You will not be able to hide it during this season. So I'm telling you, you may want to walk around with a small little. I saw this red book, it said the to-do list book. But I said, I'm not going to use this as my to-do list. Maybe when I see something, and instead of, because everything that come to your mind, you do not have to say. But sometimes you do need to get it out. So you can write it down. You may not say it, but write it down, because it's going to help you. So the solar eclipse is followed by the Aries full moon. We just had an Aries full moon 2 weeks ago. And with the new moon in Scorpio, we will have intense warrior energy dominated by female archetypes. Both Aries and Scorpio are ruled by Mars. So that adds like a double. All that energy is, Mars is about action. Mars is about kind of, it's not that fight or flight type thing. It's like fight, fight, fight. It's heavy, intense. It's very sexual tension. So you may be having and feeling that. That's why it's happening. The new okay, now the sun and the moon are thought to represent like male and female forces, and so it makes the solar eclipse the power of the solar consciousness. So we will have like higher lunar realms of feelings and intuition. So this is and so now so you're saying, so now you're feeling like, oh, I got all this energy, I want to go do this. And then the weather has been really beautiful. I'm in Chicago, well, in Chicago area. And so it's like, oh, I want to go, I want to go, I want to do. And then you got all these emotional feelings and this intuition that's going on. So the solar eclipse will bring a brand new chapter, which will help us release, surrender, and have a metaphorical death. Okay. Now, however, the death will lead to renewal and rebirth. See, everybody thinks death means, oh, it's dead, it's gone. No. Once you have a metaphorical death, it is bringing new things to you, renewal, rebirth. We will walk through, like, so I want you to imagine walking through some hot stones, right? But then you're going to come out stronger. And that should also help you release your fears, stories that people may have said, or things that you just keep going over in your mind. Um, some wounds that you have, deep wounds that you may have, and some patterns that you keep going right back to. This is the perfect time to release all of that so you can reemerge stronger. I know this most of the time. If you've been listening to me, I normally telling you about manifesting for the new moon, but this new moon was with the solar eclipse, so you are not going to just sit over here and be like, oh, it's a new moon, let's manifest. You have to really go deep with this solar eclipse and new moon. You must let go of anything that is not benefiting you at your deepest inner truth, so you can deepen your communication with yourself. Okay. So that right there in itself is really, really hard for us to do, because we like to hold on to things. Okay, but now you need to hold on to your horses, weather wanderers, because also I know you're trying to figure out, okay, well, what is going on? It's more that's going on out there. Jupiter is in retrograde, and it enters Pisces. Okay, so Jupiter retrograde is going to enter Pisces, and Jupiter is our planet of growth, luck, abundance, and happiness. So that's really good. And it boosts intuitive thinking, wisdom, and higher knowledge. But and so it will begin. So we definitely will begin to feel like life is on our side, and that growth is happening naturally. Jupiter was in Pisces from January to April, and it's going to move back into Pisces on the 28th. And so while it's in retrograde, and so that will help us feel the need to explore greater healing and growth. Since Jupiter will be in retrograde, we will feel this within. That's more, that's a lot of work that we're doing within ourselves. We will have dreamy, dreamy energy and intriguing growth to our inner selves. for our wishes, our dreams, our wisdom, and our knowing. So you're going to be doing a lot of daydreaming. You're going to be doing a lot of dreaming in your sleep, not just a regular dream, some deeper wisdom that is going to come. It's an extremely spiritual time right now. So we have to stop being just what I call lower self and doing like lower vibrational things, just gossiping and things like that. We have to really go deeper into our connection with God. Now, that's whatever higher being, divine God that you serve, okay? You have to build your connection there, and that's going to give you your greatest growth. That's going to give you your greatest healing, okay? So I need us to take this time right here seriously. And on October 29th, Mercury is going will join both the sun and Venus as it enters the sign of Scorpio. So that's more Scorpio. While Mercury is in the water sign, there will be an intensity brought into our intuitive. And so we will, our intuition, and I was going to say our intuitive self. So we will have a laser focus to our thoughts and depth and truth expressed through our communication. This is inner work. All of this was inner work. So it is no running, it is no hiding in this season. That's why it's so intense. That's why it is so emotional for us right now. Now, I always love to tell you what the destiny day, and this is so funny. Today, on Tuesday, October 25th, it is the 10 of hearts. Heart is love, heart, And so that's success with groups of people or the public, large gatherings of people. Okay. And so with that, I'm telling you, your inner self, that's what you have to do. Now, let's talk about what's going on with this 10 of Hearts day. This influence will bring sudden social success among some groups of people, or success in areas dealing with communication, publishing, and speaking. This could mean a party, such as a birthday party or some other gathering where there are lots of people for you to impress with your wit and charm. This influence can be applied to business or financial success by scheduling, advertising, or promotions while this card is present. And honey, and I'm glad I'm gonna use that for my own promotion. So I will be doing new moon readings. I will be doing destiny card check-in. I will also be doing solar eclipse readings and spirit within. So I am discounting for the end of the month. So you know where you can contact me. Before I give you that information, I'm going to also give you our card. Oh my goodness. Now we talked about all that Mars energy, right? And the card that was pulled is action. My divine action incites love and harmony. I am aware of my thoughts and driven by positive forces. I listen to my heart. My desire to manifest light transforms test into growth, challenge into opportunity, and fear into love. Oh, that just gives me so much joy, because all of that plays a part within each other. Everything that I talked about, I love when it all comes together. And do not forget that I am Mother Mecca 115. You can find me on Facebook as Mecca Mecca. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok as Mother Mecca 115 LLC. You can text me at 708-253-8795. And don't forget, I love you like no other. And all of this energy is going to help us, but you don't forget to breathe. Don't forget to ground. Don't forget to journal. Back to you, Moo.
Whew, girl, just listening to you, I'm like, oh no, oh my goodness. All of that was right there because
Woo!
all of my clients are dealing with this right now. Today was crazy. Yesterday was crazy. Tomorrow's going to be crazy. I love it
Yes.
though because I do exactly what you say. I breathe, I journal, and believe me, I sit still. You know that.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. I
So,
know that about you.
yes, ma'am. I'm going to be still this season.
Woo!
All right, Mother Mecca. As always, I appreciate you and thank you for bringing us into the light. I'll talk to you soon, love.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Bye
All
bye.
right, everybody. This is Master Force Radio. And as I mentioned before, we are going to have an amazing conversation with one of my new friends who happen to be running for the Alderman of Ward 5. Whoa! Now, what's crazy about this is it's 12 other people running with him. How you doing, Wallace? Come on, let people know you. How you doing, brother?
I'm absolutely excited, but before I even get in, Mother Mecca touched me.
Oh
Here
yeah.
I'm sitting here. It is time for me to reorient my Tuesdays.
Yep.
Uh, oh my God, I I cannot tell you how much I appreciate the energy you just brought into my space. That wasn't what I was planning for. That's not what I was working for, and I didn't even know it was coming. So, Moot, I can't thank you enough for that. I
But
cannot.
thank you. And that's the intention too, because when she said we have got to be more into our spiritual essence, that's real. That's real. That's what's going to catapult us to the next level, and especially for all the work that we have to do in our community, right?
I need to talk to folks again like her because I don't sit still. You know, I fall asleep and wake up in the same position and start all over again. You know, so I
I can
do
hear that.
do
I
that.
can hear that.
And
But you know, you have a group of us. We're surrounding you. We're covering you. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get this. We're gonna get through all of this together, right?
and I'm feeling it in ways that I know you know. But I mean, as I tell the story, I'm that kid from Woodlawn who has circumnavigated the globe twice. I've gone
Yep.
around the world, and that's a whole lot from a kid who grew up in Woodlawn, right on the corner. And I truly mean on the corner, you know. And somebody encouraged me to look beyond the corner way
Mm,
back when. So that led me to a Catholic school that where I was tutored by University of Chicago students. I can't tell you if those students helped improve my grades, but I can tell you they took us to Northwestern, Loyola, DePaul, and the University of Chicago campus. And before I was out of elementary school, I knew I was going to college. I
mm.
knew I wanted to be part of that kind of experience.
Yes.
And then they sent me to Mount Carmel. And I mean, they sent me. I didn't want to go to Mount Carmel. My girlfriend was going to South Shore.
Yep.
My
Yep.
So I'm like, that's where I wanted to go to school. And after arguing with my father for a while, he said, boy, I've always taught you that you should have choices. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. He said, you can go to Mount Carmel or Culver Military Academy. Her
Those are
choice.
your choices.
Needless to say, you know I ended up at Mount Carmel.
You went to Mount Carmel, right?
And I look back and I think of how wise he was.
Yes.
You know, he could have made me go, and I'm not sure I would have gotten the experience because I would have resented that he made me go.
Yep.
So he gave me the choice, and I felt like I was making the decision. Of course, in hindsight, the deck was stacked. Oh boy, he knew.
That's right.
Uh, but I'll be candid, I did the same thing for my son who went
Yeah.
to Mount Carmel also.
Yeah.
I made it a choice of a really bad choice in Mount Carmel, and he graduated from Mount Carmel, and I'm very proud of that legacy.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
I'm a kid who had to get out of Woodlawn, though, because back in the day, as it is now in many of our communities, in the 70s, the US government declared war on poverty, crime, and drugs, and overnight, our communities became war zones.
Mm.
If you look back 52 years now, we're trying to fix war zones with band aids.
Okay.
Think
Yeah.
about it. We had Marshall plans to rebuild Europe and Asia.
Right.
We knew that we needed a holistic approach. And unfortunately, we're getting offered band aids right now, and that ain't
Right.
going to work. But
Right.
that's not
Right.
where I am. A little bit more on me before I go into like what I'm fighting for right now.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. 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 Because you know we gonna be talking that the whole time. We want to hear about how you got to that fight first.
I left Chicago and went out to Elmhurst to college and learned leadership. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
really learned how to encourage people, how to manage people, how to capture their imagination and help them get where they wanted to go.
Yeah.
That was just such a great skill. That took me to the University of Vermont. Believe me, I didn't know why they gave me a great scholarship, tuition, room and board, and $50 a week. And
Whoa, you were rich.
I would look in the mirror and understand why they got me here because there were just two of us. You Vermont was an incredible experience, but I have to tell you, I'm a young brother in Vermont learning that culture. And that's how we have to think about it. I was immersed in another culture,
Yep.
learned, survived in it, excelled. And that's what we need to teach our young kids. Get out of your comfort zone,
Yep.
try another experience, and you'd be surprised how successful you can be in coming back to it.
I love that. Yeah, that's really cool because that is also what I did. I ended up going to Iowa for college, and
Where'd you go to school?
I went to okay, we're not going to turn this into my interview. But, you know you're good like that, right? But I'll answer this one question, okay? I went to Westmar College in Lamars, Iowa. And, you know, it was only 90 black students out of 9,000. But most of them were from the East Coast.
I understand. On
Yeah.
another day, on my show one day, I want you to tell young African American women that story.
I will. I will. But this time,
I
I
understand.
want to. That's right. Can you tell us what made you decide now that you wanted to take on running for alderman of the Fifth Ward?
I wish I could say it was like an epiphany. Something hit me one day and said I should do it. But in truth, it's been a long time in coming.
Okay.
At the last election, I was a moderator for the candidates for the Fifth Ward because I was the executive director of the High Park Chamber of Commerce. So I was
Okay.
given that honor to moderate the discussion. And I
Right.
remember thinking, none of these candidates are really exciting me. I mean,
Mm,
they're good people, they have a good mission, but I think we deserve more than good people and a mission. So I thought, yeah, I should run. But then again, I had a 18-year-old son who
mm.
I believe African American boys are an endangered species.
You
And
can
I,
say that twice. Okay.
amen.
Mm,
And I committed my life to making sure that that young brother had options.
yes.
Not right, not wrong, just options.
Yep.
Dude, you are a young man. You're making decisions. Let me tell you of some of the options that are out here and you choose.
Yeah.
And he was like, Dad, many of my buddies never even heard of this stuff. I'm like, that's why I'm telling you. Your
Right.
job is to tell them.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So he got a brand new job. And the day he got a new job, he said he was moving out. And I said, I'm going to run for Alderman. We all agreed to it on the same kind of day. Part of that also is that I understood that the incumbent had been there a while. And when you stay someplace too long, you become complacent and
Yes.
people expect you to do things a certain way and you don't cultivate new young talent.
Mm,
That's understandable. All of us have been in that same situation. We got our friends who are like we've had for a while, and somebody new moves into the circle, and it's hard to break in because we got
yep.
our friends.
Yep.
At work, we have our peers, and that new kid who really is excited and enthusiastic. We don't necessarily let them in real fast.
Right.
Politics are the same, and after 20 some odd years, it's hard for new, young, enthusiastic folks to break in. And that's what I've been doing.
Mm,
As you know, I've been a dean for 24 years. I've been a dean of students, associate dean of students, dean of international programs at
right.
4 different universities, helping 18 through 22-year-olds think beyond, the borders.
Right.
Think beyond the classroom. Think about what else you can do other than just being a classic academic student. My favorite phrase, be careful not to let your academics get in the way of your education.
Ooh, yes, I love that.
And,
Yes,
and you know that.
I
It's
do.
important. It's important what you learn in the classroom, but what you learn outside the classroom helps you become that leader, that
Yes.
woman or man who is committed to their community. So, as a dean at four different institutions, Allegheny in Pennsylvania, Earlham in Indiana, IIT here in Chicago, and most recently at the University of Chicago, my mission has been to help students get beyond the classroom and make sure they did not let their academics get in the way of their education. I love it.
That is beautiful, and that is, I don't know if you know this story, but I have that same vision. I took a group of eighth graders to Egypt back
Mm,
in 2009 with that same idea. That's when you say go beyond the block. I'm like, absolutely, go beyond the corner. That's a T-shirt,
it
right?
is. It is.
And we have to do it with young people before they get discouraged and feel like everything is against them, because it seems like that's what society is doing right now, trying to make everything against the young people, and especially our young black males.
Well, part of it also is that many of those who are in the position to make decisions don't get it anymore.
Yeah,
Not again, you will hear me say this all the time, not right, not wrong, just real. You
just
know,
real.
that
Mm,
brother who writes the check is writing with a good intent, but he doesn't understand anymore that that's not what young brothers might need, just the check.
yeah,
They need something very different than just the check. And he's thinking and doing what he thinks is the right thing. So, I've known those kind of men and women, and I believe in them, but I've also had to help them understand that you need to get out and touch the fabric of that working class brother and understand exactly what he is experiencing. Because in your office, and again, when I work downtown, in our office, we don't see it. We don't
right.
see it anymore. So
Yeah.
that's why I moved back to the block that I grew up on in Woodlawn. When I
Yes.
came, I have to admit, my ex-wife, didn't want to be in the hood.
Oh well, that was the reason to make you an ex, right?
um, you know, brilliant, beautiful, bad sister. I will never say a discouraging remark. An incredible attorney, incredible public defender, state's attorney, and now judge, now living in the hood. But at that time, 20 some odd years, that dream of corporate legal work,
Yeah,
Gold Coast, you know, young sister had to pursue it.
that's
And I,
right.
I wanted to live in Woodlawn. And
Yeah.
we just went in different paths, never ever casting disparaging remarks about each other. So I'm blessed. So what I did was I became an organizer. When I
Mm,
was in college, I organized protests. When I was in the Peace Corps, I organized villagers to challenge the corporate structure of how they were getting paid.
yes.
My father cringed when I said I was going to work for the US government, but he gave me buttons that said question authority.
Question authority. Come
There you
on.
go. Think about it.
Yeah.
If we do that, then we also are in the next step in the right direction of changing and improving things.
Yeah.
So after being an organizer overseas, I came back and I worked for a company that helped senior level executives open up operations internationally, teach
Oh.
them the rules, the culture of engaging in another culture.
Mm.
The good in that is that I got better at it. The bad is that I was helping the fat cats get fatter.
Yeah. Okay. And at first look, it seems like the perfect opportunity.
Amen.
But
Amen.
then we say, how much time and effort and energy am I losing making your pockets fat while my community is still wasting away?
You understand it. And that epiphany, that was an epiphany that was earth shattering for me because I was making good money. I was doing all the things that we had been taught. I was traveling the world.
Yep.
I just married this beautiful sister, and I was making great money. And suddenly I realized I'm helping McDonald's make more money.
Yep.
I'm helping Motorola, IBM make more money.
Come on.
And I decided that I really needed to do something. So a good long-term friend said, you ought to come work for the city of Chicago. I'm like, I don't think so. I don't like I don't like the mayor. I don't like government. And she said to me, they will not mess with you because you're going to go into a department that is so far down that it touches the people in a way that nobody is worried about and they won't mess with you.
Wow.
And I'm like, right. But I can tell you, I worked for the mayor for 7 years,
Mm.
and I ended up being responsible for distributing correctly $131 million into our community.
I love that. Okay.
Girl, I can't even tell you, in hindsight, I go, how blessed I was.
Yes.
I can tell you that I still have friends from those days because clearly I'm like, I want you to write a proposal so that we can open Little Black Pearl and
Oh,
Mama.
yes. Come on.
I want you to work on the Harold Washington Cultural Center.
Yes.
I want you to fund the Mexican Fine Arts Center.
Come on.
Those are the millions of dollars that were under my responsibility to distribute correctly. And distributing money correctly ain't easy.
No, it's not.
Because when I joined and the mayor said, I want you to do this, there were agencies who had gotten money and had not kept the right documents.
Mm-hmm.
Government will come after you for those kinds of errors.
That's right.
And they were not malicious, they were just not detail oriented.
That's right. That's right.
And unfortunately, in government dollars, if you're not detail oriented, they will say you got to pay it back.
What?
We don't have that money. It's gone. It's out.
Spent. It was spent as soon as you wrote the check. People been working for free all this time. We had to go back and pay them.
So my job was to correct the errors and make sure as we moved ahead, we distributed those funds correctly. Okay. And I look back and it was just a rare, wonderful opportunity for me to be that involved in distributing funds like that.
That is wonderful. And you made a key point. You said where you were so far down that no one was paying attention to what you were doing. Amen. So then you were able to get more done. And people don't realize that's the secret sauce.
I swear by it.
Stay under, don't be out there. Oh, look, I got this. No. Now, guess what? You've just put all the spotlight on you.
In Australia, they call that the tall poppy theory. The poppy that grows the tallest first is the one that's cut.
Yeah, come on. Yep.
They say keep your head down and do good in the hood. And that's so I was blessed. It was one of my greatest favorite jobs. But working for the city is hard as well because you have to buy into their values.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
So after a while, it was time for me to do something different. And I was blessed because I had a background in higher education to apply and be offered a position that Michelle Obama had formerly held, an associate dean of students at the University of Chicago.
Okay.
I owed the university. I'm a kid who grew
That's
up,
right.
who was tutored. Okay. So the idea that I could get a gig within walking distance of my neighborhood, because remember, I'd gone back on the block in Woodlawn, and they were going to pay me serious money.
That's right. And gave you some authority.
Yep. All those things.
Yeah.
So I worked as an associate dean at the University of Chicago. And as always, it's great. I like the people. I tolerate the people. I work with the people. The mission was to help University of Chicago students get beyond the classroom and become actively involved in the community. help the medical students run clinics, help the law students offer pro bono services for businesses,
Right.
help everything from the American Red Cross to Woodlawn After School and Habitat for Humanity in between. I advise all of those groups how they could take that passion beyond the classroom, off the campus, into communities around the city of Chicago.
That is wonderful. That
They
is
wore me out, but
they
students
wore
want to
you
meet it.
out?
Girl,
Yes.
they want to meet at 9 o'clock at night.
Isn't it something? They do their best work after dark. Students do, right? Oh no, who needs sleep?
Right. And I'm like, look, y'all, I can't 9 o'clock. I'm like ready for bed. I want to have a meeting. But I love me some students.
Yes,
That was
yes.
a great gig. Still, in hindsight, I've been a dean at 4 different colleges, universities, and I am still in touch with students from
Yeah.
those colleges and universities who have said, Dean Goode, you offered me options that I didn't even know existed. So I'm
Oh,
blessed that way. And I have those students. And that allowed me to work for the city where my job was to help folks, businesses connect with folks who needed jobs.
mm.
And again, it was one of those, the mayor said, we're going to find you a job, and told my boss, we're going to find them a job. Who my boss said, Wallace. I'm like, okay, okay. So for a number of years, my job was to help folks who were unemployed, underemployed, and illegally employed find gainful employment.
That is absolutely wonderful. And as I'm listening to you talk, it already gives me an idea that you know how to deal with people in so many different communities and so many different cultures. But really, if you look at the Fifth Ward, what are the unique neighborhoods in that Fifth Ward? How do we break those up so that people can get an idea of the services or the people you want to serve?
In what I currently do is I'm walking the streets.
Mm, mm.
My wife laughs at me. She says, "You want to say that differently?" I'm like, "No, baby, I'm walking the streets." And she's like, "Okay." That's it. And you know what that means? It means that I see houses at the ground level. I
Mm-hmm.
see people on the corner at the eye level.
Mm-hmm.
I see houses and buildings as they emerge up. I used to teach my students, don't look at the ground level, street level. Look on the second and third floor of magnificent buildings in our community who have lost some of the grandeur of past.
Mm.
When I go down 71st Street, I don't look at the first floor stories. I look at the second and third and go, those are incredibly gorgeous buildings that need a little bit of attention.
Yeah.
So, what I'm currently doing is I'm walking the streets of Grand Crossing. I'm walking the streets of South Shore, Woodlawn. I grew up in Woodlawn, so I know the streets and the alleys. I've worked for almost 15 years in Hyde Park. I know the nooks and crannies, and I hang out in Kenwood. So the Fifth Ward is 5 neighborhoods: Kenwood in the north, Hyde Park, then Woodlawn, and Grand Crossing and South Shore in the south.
Mm.
And the challenge is that they are such distinct neighborhoods that often they don't talk to each other.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
So one of my goals is to be a bridge builder. Okay?
Mm.
There's no reason why. And again, we know and love Diane Hodges. She will never, ever, ever let me not be a South Shore person again.
Never. Ever.
Never, ever. Girl is like, Wallace? Or no, I'm not even Wallace. Good.
Good. Right. You and me both. Right. Come on. This is what we doing next.
And you gotta love people who have that passion for what they do.
Absolutely.
So I love being part of her circle because not only has she introduced me to Pastor Monty and June Norfleet and you who are doing this. Yesterday, I did a presentation at the Quadrangle House because she introduced me to Frances. It's
Yes.
mind blowing that she has opened the door to a part of the Fifth Ward that I know many of the other candidates aren't even aware of, let alone experiencing.
Yes, and I love that because again, when we do take our time, when you invite us to come and have coffee with you on Wednesdays, we go to these other communities that you're talking about. You know,
Absolutely.
we actually hang out in Hyde Park for part of the day and in Woodlawn, you know, and South Shore and you know, so this is important when you say a bridge because if we're the fifth ward, all of us need to be concerned about one another, not just our neighborhood.
And most people don't get that whole concept of the Fifth Ward. So that's one of my goals, even from a marketing branding strategy. We need to buy into the fifth. You know,
Okay.
we just need to buy in to the fifth, and we got to think about what that really means. I spend my time meeting people like you, meeting leaders in the fifth.
Mm-hmm.
I'm honest. I drink Jack Daniels. I love the fifth. Okay, I'm not shy about saying that as well because I grew up in this community. It's so deep into my blood, and yet I got away so that I could understand better how to be effective here.
Yes.
I had to get out because the community can be overwhelming.
Yes, it can.
And you know how when you graduate, as a rule, you get out of your row, you go up, get your diploma, come back down the middle row, and go back into your row.
Yep.
Went up, got my diploma, came down the middle row, and continued on out the door and left Chicago that moment.
Wow.
I had to get out of here so bad because I was dodging gangs and
Yep.
bullets and stuff on my street. And I needed to get out of Chicago to survive back then. So that when I came back to Chicago on the same block, I came back under my own terms.
Mm-hmm. And with those sharpened leadership skills.
Absolutely. I was not afraid like I was when I was 18. I was knowledgeable about how to work with people and say, I may not agree with you, but we're going to work with you.
Yes.
I came back with a whole different sense that I would not have cultivated if I had not gotten off the block.
Yes. And you know, I definitely all of what you just said resonates with me because those were some of the things that I was faced with too. But you
Absolutely.
know, even though coming back, it's like we still have safety issues in these neighborhoods. And they've gotten even bigger than they were when we were younger.
So when I came back, I tell that story. They welcomed me with open arms on my block. Somebody stole the hubcaps off my car, then stole my car. Somebody broke into my apartment,
Whoa.
stole my CD player, stole my radio. Somebody snatched the chain off my neck, and
Come
they said,
on.
"Welcome home, Wallace."
We glad to have you back. What else you got, bro? What else you got for?
Out of all that, probably the best was the brothers. I'm walking home one night. Said, Man, is that your car? I'm like, yeah. He said, somebody stole the hubcaps. I'm like, yeah. He said, there's a brother like a couple blocks away. He got a garage and he got a bunch of hubcaps. You want me to see if he got one for your car?
You
Went over
probably
there.
don't want it.
You are so bad. Next day, he said, man, I found you those hubcaps. He'll sell them back to you for $5 a piece. And for another $5, I'll make sure nobody ever steals them again.
Oh my goodness.
They welcomed me home. And those are my brothers to this day.
Yes.
To this day, they look out for me, okay? So it cost me initially, but they saw a little bit of money and they saw
Yeah.
an opportunity for economic enhancement.
Creative at that.
And creative, and like they didn't come at me mean, they come, man, I know somebody who got hubcaps like a car from a car like that.
They look like they will fit your wheels.
They were very, very good. And of course, these are still brothers that I know to the day.
Oh man.
So this is part of why I came home. Another point that you will know, there's a book called an author, Alex Kotlowitz. And Alex Kotlowitz from the University of Chicago wrote a book called There Are No Children Here.
Mm.
And he was writing a book comparing children growing up in Chicago housing projects to children growing up in Beirut.
Oh wow.
They learn the same kind of survival skills,
Yeah.
dodging bullets, watching their friends and families die, infrastructure, roads, schools, clinics decimated,
Mm.
marketing, black market. They saw all of that in Beirut, and kids in our housing projects see exactly the same thing.
Yes.
And then we say, oh, let's put a band aid on that and encourage you to compete in the fair market.
Okay. And there's nothing fair anywhere before
Absolutely.
you get to the market.
Our kids are suffering from
Yeah.
post traumatic stress, and we don't understand it. We give them a band aid. So I say that in the sense that when our communities became war zones, we need strategies to address war zones, not
Mm.
band aids, not a quick fix. It took 50 years for our communities to disintegrate to this level. It ain't going to happen overnight. I
No.
don't have the solution in my pocket, but I do believe, I absolutely do believe that the solution is in our community. I
Yeah.
believe.
In,
First of all,
in our collective effort.
absolutely.
Yes.
Let me tell you how much I love your screensaver. And
Okay.
I tell you that because as I look into your eyes and talk, I want you to hear that deep down inside, I've spent all these years all over the world learning how people fix problems in their community.
Mm.
And I really am committed to doing that. But move on. Here's the plan. Oh, wait. What's your question? You got
But you
what?
know,
What's
I
our
do.
time? What do I need to be cognizant of?
I do. Well, we still have another hour or so.
Whew,
But I still I do want you to know that what you just said is real. I know it's real. I know you're committed to that. And that is why I did open this platform to you because I'm possessive of my audience. It's like everybody can't come here and
thank you.
talk to my people, right? It's almost like there is a level of vetting that has to take place for
Thank you.
me to have these type of conversations. And most of the people that know me, who have worked with me, I've certified over 500 life coaches worldwide, but they know, that I like to play low key too, but everybody can't play in my circle.
Amen. Amen.
So now, you've mentioned some of the safety, and we know that it's going to take time. It's going to take a collective effort. But here's another touchy subject, and I'm not expecting you to have a solution, but I just want to make sure that we're speaking to it so that people know that those of us who are listening to you, we are coming to you asking you the tough questions. And the toughest one for me is the whole education system going on in all of our communities, but specifically in the Fifth Ward. What do you see there? What are some of the ways that you are beginning to look there to know that, we almost have to dismantle stuff, but before you can dismantle, you have to literally study and embrace and see what is happening. What do you see is happening?
Start with that because that's exactly where I believe we start with what is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Our government is overextended. They have made promises they can't keep.
Mm.
But when we think about that, they're not necessarily the bad guys. They're just like arrogant and can't admit that they're messing up.
Yeah.
You know, we all know men and women who are like that, okay? And we still love them.
Yeah.
No, it ain't. Nikki Giovanni used to talk about why black men can't apologize.
Mm.
I love Nikki when she. I've produced Nikki Giovanni in several. I've brought her to every campus I've worked for. I
Oh.
believe that students needed to hear the words of this poet laureate.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
one of her favorite is like, how come you can't, black man can't say I'm sorry? Black men say I can't. And the point of it was we say all kinds of things rather than simply, I'm sorry.
Right. We gonna bring you some roses.
Okay, and you get it. You get it.
Right.
The government is no different. The
Mm.
government doesn't know how to say, you know what? We promised you education and gave you CPS. My family are all educators. They've done incredible jobs with unreasonable resources.
Yep.
Children who were not trained at home, like in the old school days. So they
Right.
had to train them about social issues, respect of each other, the value of life before they got to ABCs and
Mm.
math. So the reality is our educational system is no longer what it needs to be. There's a great example of Rip Van Winkle having sleep 100 years.
Come on.
He came alive and walked around and didn't recognize business, transportation, young women, but he went into a school and says, oh, I recognize schools. They haven't changed in 100 years.
In 100 years.
100 years, okay? We still trying to teach young people the way that our great grandpappy was taught, okay?
Right.
It's not working anymore.
No.
But we pay the government, and people say, I pay my taxes. You pay your taxes, this is what you get. But folks who can afford it and folks who understand the value invest above and beyond their taxes in the education of their children.
Mm.
They get tutors, they get after school programs, they do
Yeah.
Saturday programs, they
Yeah.
do all kinds of stuff to augment that school system, which has never been adequate, but they've always augmented it for those who understood the importance of increased knowledge, because knowledge open doors, and open doors give you opportunities that you don't even see. Okay? Come on, I'm a brother from Woodlawn who went to Vermont. They taught me things in Vermont that I didn't even know existed.
Yep.
You know, I had never mountain climbed. I never go deep caving.
Come on. Right.
Come on, they don't have that stuff in Woodlawn.
Yep. Yep.
So the point of it becomes that we really have those ways of helping folks learn. So when it comes to education, our education system has gotten very narrow.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to CVS? Come on, not everybody is college bound. Some
Right.
people, the best mechanics I know, the best plumbers I know, the best creative food and cooks I know didn't go to college.
That's right.
And yet we continue to say that is where we want people to go. A very dear friend of mine who was part of the city college system used to talk about how City College of Chicago evaluated their success on how many students matriculated into four-year institutions. And I said, girl, why don't you measure your success on how many people improve their lives by taking city college courses?
Okay.
So I take a course in security, medical technology, culinary arts, mechanics, and I move ahead. And you don't consider that a success because I didn't go to college? Wrong yardstick. You're wrong yardstick. So they began looking at folks who took city college courses to advance and improve the quality of their life, and suddenly their success ratio grew. We need to rethink what we do for our people. Young folks need alternatives to college. Young folks need alternatives to the streets. And we, if we cannot do that, We have failed them.
And I don't think people even realize that CVS was mostly a trade school. You know, you
See,
had trade, and I think DuSable, we had trades at
yep.
DuSable as well.
Think about it. It taught folks beyond what they learned in the college classroom. It taught them skills,
Yep.
skills. And somewhere, someone who had a degree, and I use that very carefully,
Mm-hmm.
decided that the trades were not as important.
Wow.
I mean, that was not an accident. Someone made that decision. I understand people making that decision. The problem was all of us sitting at the table didn't shoot it down.
That's right. We allowed it.
That's
We
right.
we
We
did not
allowed it.
question authority.
That's right. Question authority.
Right.
Question. If if wow, is that my new mantra? If we don't remember anything else from this conversation, that's a phrase that I want to be noted for. Question authority.
Yes.
They're not the good guys, the bad guys. It's not right, not wrong. It's real. And we just need to challenge them to make sure that their decisions are good for all of us, not just
That's
them.
right. That's really good because that really does speak to how our communities have been crippled with
Yep,
jobs
yep,
in
yep.
economic development. Okay,
Nobody,
that's one of the crippling aspects right there because first of all, everybody can't afford to go to college.
right,
And
right.
if you're planning, everybody's college prep and all this, but now what about those who are better at using their hands, better at being creative, the more right brain thinkers? What happened
Better
to
at being athletic.
the athletics? Yeah,
I mean, we require our athletes to go through college to compete.
come on,
Think about that. We require them to go through college in order to compete.
and
Now,
no, and to get to professional levels, and
and
then they get paid.
right,
That's
and
crazy.
they argue that, well, that's important. I'm not saying college is not important. Come on, I've been a dean. But
Yes,
the reality of it is that we might have done better by those young men and women in prioritizing their athletic prowessness and supporting them academically and emotionally in other ways,
yeah,
not just on college campus. Come on. I was at IIT with some of the greatest minds that I've ever worked with, and they were not athletically inclined. They were
mm-hmm.
talented in another way. I was at the University of Chicago where I had to tell some students, you need to iron your clothes before you come to my office. Okay? But they were brilliant,
Yeah,
brilliant kids.
yeah,
So it takes people who speak those languages to see the richness in our children and guide them. So
yes,
that's what it gets down to. And we don't have enough of those conductors. So when I say I want to be a bridge builder, that's important. But then I go, I want to be a conductor and recruit other conductors to guide our students. And it's not the Underground Railroad anymore. I'm not saying those issues don't exist, but the landmines out here are deadly. And we
yeah.
don't teach our children how to negotiate the landmines.
Yeah.
They
That is
blow up.
very real. Absolutely. And I love I can tell we got to have some conversations offline
You
because
are so
my
right.
my focus is has always been for the last 30 years on educating children. We have to change the way we educate children
That's
because
right.
our children, we can teach them how to tap into the genius factor and we aren't even giving them a clue that they have it.
And part of it is that we, you, me, and Diane and June and folks who I know are there, are so busy fighting the other fight.
Ah,
Imagine if we didn't have to fight the drugs and the gang and the other violent issues, and we could focus on educating our children to think beyond the box.
that's right. That's exactly right.
What a joy and passion and opportunity that would be.
Yeah. Well, we get to create that. And that's one of the reasons too that I wanted to invite you to this platform, because there are a lot of people listening that even if they're not in our ward, they can take these types of ideas and conversations to their own areas, worldwide even, right? Wherever they are. Because we all have to take on that something has to transform. I don't even want to say change. It has to transform completely. And in order to do that, we do have to question the authority. We've given our power away.
And I want to be on record. They're not the enemy.
Nope, they're not the enemy.
But so
As a
they,
matter of fact, they're doing the best they can without our input.
and that's limited. Limited. Did I say limited?
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah. We
So
actually we almost prefer for people to tell us what to do, and then once they do it, we complain about it.
so
When actually maybe we could have taken the opportunity to be a part of the conversation when it was happening.
so let's take that. Let's take that back
Yep.
to education. We
Yep.
should be part of the conversation while it's happening. Here's a call to action on this particular issue, education. I want 10 landlords to tell me that they will rent their units to teachers at below market rate who are teaching in schools like O'Keefe or Revere in the neighborhood.
Yes.
So I just want 10. Say, Wallace, we will rent $500, whatever the cost really is,
Yes.
teachers to encourage them to be part of our neighborhood.
That's right.
That's action right now.
That's right. I love that. That's a great idea because they're
Let's
not
take
getting paid enough to stay in
right.
$2,000 apartments, $1,200, $1,500 apartment.
You, so those teachers choose to live further away
Yeah.
from our schools. If they live in our community, now we need to invest in them more. Just because you're not, come on, once you live here, I'm gonna involve you on a Saturday program too.
That's right.
I'm
Guess
I'm
what we
gonna have
have
you do a
going on?
talk show. I'm gonna have you do a talk.
Guess what we have
We
going
know that
on?
we're not
Right.
just giving up. But once you get into my community and start listening and learning, we will involve you in what's the word that we give me a better word than transforming our communities? Because
Um,
that implies that,
you can say enhancing, you can say stimulating growth, you can say expanding, um, really giving. Listen, there are a ton of words, but what did you say? Transformation implies what?
um I used to use the phrase that once our imagination expands, it never shrinks back to its original
It
size.
cannot. Absolutely.
So maybe expanding our communities helps imply that once we expand them, they will not shrink back to what they were. Things that we've added, like in manufacturing, you add value in the process.
Yes.
So when I can get 10 landlords to say, I will give an apartment, quality apartment, without making a profit, then we recruit the principals at our 13 schools in the fifth ward and say, in each neighborhood, we found one landlord who is willing to give an apartment to a teacher at your school at cost. Come
Yes.
on. But
Yes.
don't stop there. We got programs that we spend millions of dollars on. Who's the best dancer? Who's the best singer? Who's the best whatever? Have you seen a program, Who's the Best Second Grade in the Country?
Okay. Who's the best second grade curriculum teacher? I know teachers that are leaving their jobs because they can't afford not just to live with it, but even their health, their mental state, the challenges that they have with parents who have to go to work and just not even think of their own children because they're using schools like, and listen, I and again, I get it. I'm not saying parents are wrong for this. It's just the structure of society is
Right, right.
not supporting the greatest asset, which are our children, which in also our families.
So you said not supporting our families.
Yes.
Yeah, come on. My mom worked a full-time job. My dad worked a full-time job. But I had a grandmother upstairs. I had older brothers and sisters who
Yeah.
like, no, I need to see you home by 3:16. I don't get out of school until 3:15. Then you better run.
3:15. Come on. That's right.
Then you better run. My
You
brothers
better.
made me run home to check in so that there was no chance of me getting involved into anything else.
Yep.
Alternatives to the streets.
Yes.
Okay. If they're not there and you're what is that, latchkey child,
Yep.
there need to be programs that start at 3:16
Yes, they did.
so that you are not hanging on the corner. You are not learning from folks who've chosen not to be part of the system.
They had the social center, they had the boys and girls home, you
Yep,
had the
yep,
YMCA's,
yep,
you had the skating. There were so many things that were children, young people oriented, that supported, like you're saying, families
yep.
who parents had to work, but there were other people that were paid to actually make sure that your child was safe.
Got your homework done and was safe. Okay.
Yeah.
So back to education, school incentives for teachers, programs that highlight quality education, programs that make sure that our children after school have alternatives.
Yes.
That is what I would propose in education.
And that it's not just about the academics and the grade, like you're saying before, like going beyond the classroom, going beyond just what did you get in math and what grade did you? It's beyond that.
And that's part of my mission. And there are moments that I go, Wallace, are you being naive? Because to change takes a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
However, you give me an opportunity. First of all, oh my God, I realize this is live. First of all, this is the first live show I've done as someone running for office. Okay,
Oh, I
so
love that. Thank
my
you. Thank you.
handlers,
Thank you, Master Voice Radio.
you are this is the very um, so it's like you know what you said on Monday on Tuesday the 25th, Wallace. Do you know what you said? I'm
Right.
like, I hope I said everything that because if anyway, the bottom line on this is exciting for me to share with you and your listeners
Mm-hmm.
what I've been passionate about for a long time.
Yes.
That's it. That's the bottom line. I'm passionate about this. I don't think about it, I live it. I don't plan for it. It is part of me. And people used to say, you don't look like you're working. I'm like, that's because I love what I do.
Absolutely.
So, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I've done my whole life, whether it was Peace Corps, training people to live in other cultures, help training people to live in other cultures is helping unemployed, illegally employed, never employed folks understand how to work in corporate America. That's
Yeah.
living in another culture.
Yep.
We are all victims of the map you philosophy. Do you know what map you is?
No.
When you walk into McDonald's, they go, map you, which is, may I help you? Map you?
Get out of here. Never heard that before.
Wayne Watson of the City Colleges coined the phrase. So I give him this props and credit. But when our children grow up with that as customer service,
Ugh.
they are offered their first job. All they know is, Matthew,
May I help you?
yeah. So we need to go back to the roots this is back to economic development, to
Yep.
train our workforce to understand that quality product is comparable. Customer service is the deciding factor.
Yeah.
You don't go back to a restaurant where you're mistreated.
That's right.
As the head of the Chamber of Commerce, Even today, I had a meeting. I mean, come on, I've been gone from the chamber. Even today, someone said, I need to tell you about a business that mistreated me. And when I
Wow.
listened to them, it was all about customer service.
All
The
about,
person,
yep.
they were they were not respected
Mm,
in business. So the reality of it is, in economic development, it's not only attracting businesses who are willing to invest on our corridors, whether it's 75th, 71st, 67th, 59th, 53rd, all the way down. It's training programs for the next generation, alternatives to the street, so that
yes.
they know what it means to do customer service, what it means to work at an auto shop, what it means to work at a produce market,
Mm.
growing your food, cleaning your food, marketing your food.
Growing your food.
Oh, girl,
Diane got us in that garden all the time.
come on. I have grown my own food from scratch. I lived
Yes.
overseas. I love the first time you harvest something you grew. There's nothing like it.
Nothing like it.
It's almost, I jokingly say it, Rita, it's like the first time you fall in love. You're like, I grew this from nothing. Oh
From
my God,
nothing. That's right, right. From the seed. From the
from
seed.
the seed.
Hmm.
So that's part of how we educate our young people, and that's what high schools and programs need to be all about nowadays.
That's
Every single, whether it's arts, whether it's mechanics, whether it's environmental, you name it.
hmm
We need to train the next generation to take charge. So I say that in a specific sense, but in a broad sense, I say that because the current alderman has been in office, when she finally leaves, almost 23, 24 years.
wow.
She has not trained a community of young people to take over.
Hmm.
She, not again, not right, not wrong. She is focused on her group of supporters,
Yep.
people who bring issues, who know how to bring issues to her. Once you figure out how to get to the alderman, you don't give up that access. But
No.
new,
Hmm.
new people just don't know how to get to the alderman. They say, I call her all the time and I don't get a call back. I understand that. So training young people as an educator, but training the next core of Fifth Ward leaders, education leaders, business leaders, health leaders, policing and legal leaders, so that we speak in the Fifth Ward with a concerted voice as opposed to disjointed. Because I hear that more and more as I hear what's going on in our ward. People and organizations are not speaking to each other.
That's something else. But before we go on to our next question, we still have about 45 more minutes. So I still have some really great questions for you, but I do want to take a station break. And I want to thank everyone for listening to Master Force Radio. And of course, we are on the platform of WVRO Soul. This is Tuesday, October 25th, 2022. And we are talking to Brother Wallace Goode, who is running for the 5th Alderman's Ward, right? I love that, just really. But not only that, he's not just running. One of the things that I felt very inspired by when we have our coffee clutches is that you are always including even your competition inside of the dialogue. You're not doing this combative, or it's like, no, I'm not competing against them. We're really, all of us need to come together to work on this, because whether I win or not, I'm still going to be playing as though these are my issues that have to be dealt with in the communities, in the neighborhoods.
Yep.
So that's why I really invited you to this platform. And then one of the biggest concern too, besides education and safety, it is healthcare. It is a huge concern in our community. Do you have a vision? Have you looked at that? Have you did any analysis to see where we could go with making a difference there?
Healthcare in term is increased access to quality healthcare. But before I go there, let me tell you, yesterday I did a panel with Aldermanic candidates Adrian Ermer and Chris Levy.
Okay.
Chris probably said the best thing. He said, I thought it was going to be an easy race until I hear the two of you talking about what your plans are. It's
Uh,
going to be a tough fight. And I
yeah.
respect Chris for that.
Yeah.
Adrian said, I listen to what people say, but I've known Wallace 20 years. Wallace listens. So I was excited by her endorsement. But most
Okay.
importantly, what I said was, if I lose, I hope both of you include me in your administration because when I win, I will include you.
Wow. Profound. Yes. And that's what true, authentic leadership is. It's
They're
including all of the leaders.
they're both sharp. They're
Yeah.
both good.
Yeah.
So why would I want to like, well, I won, nah, 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 nah. I'm like, I won. Now let's work on this. Let's work on education. Let's work on economic development. Let's work on creative alternatives to the streets. And as you just said, let's work on creative alternatives and increased access to quality healthcare. Let's
Yeah.
go there.
Yeah.
One of the questions yesterday was a significant portion of increased violence is due to a population of folks who are struggling with mental health issues.
Mm.
What are we going to do?
What are we going to do?
So, we need to understand, first of all, that all of these issues quality education, economic development, quality access to quality healthcare, environmental issues are all happening at an alarming rate simultaneously.
Yes.
Okay. So when someone tells me that they are a one issue person, I respectfully listen, but I don't have the luxury of being a one issue person.
Come on.
Don't tell me that education is your only issue because I know not only is education critical, but the economic development of the 71st Street corridor, job development, training is essential. Quality healthcare is lagging. The environment, let's protect the point, the nature sanctuary. Come on, I don't have the luxury to
Yep.
only focus. I must divide my attentions among all of those issues.
Mm.
So, and I'm okay with that because if I plan it right, I will have what's the term? And I don't even know it yet. I haven't coined it. The leaders in each of those areas
That's what I
walking
thought. You're going to have a whole team of leaders for each area that you are
right.
focused on. Yes.
I want to talk to the 13 principals of our elementary schools and the 4 principals of our high school and say, come on, what are we going to do about education? Don't tell me you are some of the best, the brightest, and you
Yep.
can't tell me what we need to do to fix this. Come
Mm-hmm.
on. I'm going to talk to who is a friend of mine, the head of Jackson Park Hospital, the vice president of the University of Chicago Hospital. Tell me, what should I want to know what victory looks like?
Yes.
Let's talk about it. Let's start with what is success? What does victory look like in business development? And then we work backwards. If this
Yes.
is what it looks like, what do we need to do to get there? Plain and simple. So I say that to only say that my mission right now is to meet the leaders in all of these areas and ask them the question,
Mm-hmm.
what does success look like? Don't come at me and say, wow, how are you going to fix this? You know what? You've been living with it 24/7, 365. You tell me how to fix it. Well, that's not my job. You're right. It's our job.
And you know that's beautiful, Wallace. And what I want people to really when you're asking them that question, to have them push beyond if we had funding. Nope. how would, imagine that you already have the funding. What would it look like if it was already,
Yes.
because sometimes people get
Yes.
stuck at, we don't have the money to do what I want to do. And guess what? That is not the truth.
It's not the truth.
Because money is a source that will follow your vision every single time.
Wow.
I have lived that my entire life. I have taught that. So I know it's true. But we have
You
to teach people to go beyond that conversation. I love that.
well, you evoke things in me, and I really wish to listen to this again because things that I'm thinking of, you've given me 2 hours. Girl, usually I get like 20 minutes. Okay.
Well,
um,
I love being able, because sometimes you just warming up in 20 minutes.
absolutely right. And it's how we think and process and put it all together. So,
Yeah,
yes, whether it's education, whether it's economic development, whether it's the issues of mental health, we need
yeah.
to understand quality health care is essential in our community. And don't tell me I have to choose between quality health care, quality education, safety, economic development. See, that's the game.
Yeah,
You
because
tell
then those people that can afford to leave the community to look for quality, they're going to go.
that's right. That's right. Because it's an economic game.
Yep, yep.
We tell our children, or I tell my children, you would never go into a game without knowing the rules.
Mm,
You wouldn't get on the basketball court without knowing the rules or the field. My son's mother is an attorney or judge now. You would not
mm-hmm.
go into a courtroom without knowing the rules. So
Yep,
why do you get into these games of economic funding, violence prevention, economic enhancement without knowing the rules?
yeah.
The game. My job is to tell you what the rules are and help us figure out how we can beat them. That's all.
That's right. And at
That's all.
least how we can play, because really,
Mm.
when you said that, I thought, well, as soon as we learn the rules, they change them.
But see, you are so brilliant because you know that, and so do I, and I teach that. As
Yeah,
soon as we show them we know the rules, they're going to change them. So in this class, the goal today is to figure out how might they change them to their advantage so that when they do that,
we're
we're ahead of
ready.
them. We're
We're
ready.
ready. We're already there.
When I joined the city the very first year, at the end of a fiscal year, December, I was in a meeting where I won't mention who said, we have $12 million left over from grants that were not expended. What do you want to do with it? And everybody in that room had proposals, and I was the new kid. I didn't have one. I'm
Oh,
like, oh my God. Next December, before this person said that, I had 12 proposals on the table.
okay.
Here,
Oh, I
here,
know. This
here.
is what we're
What?
doing. Oh,
That's right.
okay.
Right. Learn the game.
Yep,
Learn the game. Okay. Learn how you get money into the Black community. Learn how you get money into the brown community. Because
that's
they're
right.
not going to teach it to you. They're not going to teach it to you. Okay.
That's right.
And again, right, not wrong, just real.
Just
People with
real.
power
Yep,
don't give it up without a struggle.
that's right.
Grow up. Okay. Once you understand that, then whatever the game, brothers who are in athletics tell me, Wallace, racism is rampant. And racism ain't nothing but a hurdle on the track. You clear it and keep on stepping.
You keep on stepping.
Think
I
about it.
told my son, I said, listen, racism is not going to be a reason for you to fail.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. It's there. It's just like saying, oh, it's cold outside. Put on a
That's right.
coat and keep moving.
That's right. That's right. And I say it a little bit more aggressively, but we're on the
Yeah,
air.
I did too, but I don't. But I actually did. I created a visualization tape for my children because it's like visualize your future. We're not worried about what other people are doing or
Right.
trying not to do. Right? Very
I
good.
love that. I love
Now,
that.
yeah, but wait a minute.
Yes, ma'am.
This is the question I really want to ask you. What can the rest of us do The rest of us. We keep thinking that, oh, I've elected this official, I've elected that, they need to be doing. But what can the rest of us do to actively participate in addressing these same issues that we're telling you to come up with a solution for? What can we do?
I am a product of we. I
Mm-hmm.
went to a school like Mount Carmel, and for all the things Mount Carmel wasn't, on Monday morning after a weekend of football, it was we. If we won, we were happy.
Right.
If we lost, we all ran laps. Okay,
Yep.
the school ran laps because
Wow.
only did the team on the field lose, but you as a fan, we lost. The
Yep.
whole school ran laps. You know what? You have to step back for a moment and think about that kind of value that was instilled in young boys about what it meant to be part of something.
Yeah.
I think I have numerous stories. But the bottom line was when you were part of that community, you were part of it, and collectively we worked for change. So I say that to imply I have been blessed most of my life to have been part of communities that were able to articulate a vision and steps to get there, whether it was ridding the community of rodents. People were like, "What you mean?" I'm like, "You know what? I know I've been in a community that said we can beat this. Let's figure out how, from garbage cans that have lids that are covered to keeping our trash off the streets to," and they went a list of things that have worked around the world and
Yeah.
said, "Do it." Folks just don't get that kind of leadership. That's what a great alderman does. Says, "Look, y'all, we are in this together. Let's. We are not new. This is not a new issue. The issue is we have become so divided that we don't work together on anything. And the
Mm-hmm.
goal is how do we do that? Whether it's improving the quality of our education, going beyond the classroom, whether it's attracting businesses to our commercial corridors and developing training programs so that our youth and those unemployed can do alternatives to the streets. Somebody said, Wallace, I got 30 kids in a golf program and they're going to go to college. And I'm like, I stand up anything I can do to support that. But what you need to understand is there are 3,000 kids in the fifth ward. And you're,
3,000.
and you're 30, that's important. But that still means that there are 2,970 who need alternatives to the streets.
Yep. And they
That
all don't want to play golf.
and they don't want to play basketball,
Yep.
they don't want to go into arts, they don't want to do video. But you know what? When you start adding these programs together, who's the young brother who's working with Diane in the garden?
Oh,
Jonas
a
or
Johnny. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I, come on, this is a brother who got so excited about growing and
Oh,
teaching young people about growing food.
he was so,
Oh,
it still is. He's extremely, and he's done a beautiful job managing the garden. Every day when we go over there, it's like, oh God, look what a Johnny did now. We have fall and winter vegetables coming in already. And I was like, oh, we can grow
see,
vegetables in the fall. I'm learning something myself.
here is a foundation and story that I don't want to be lost, but it's one that has guided me in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
There's a great story of a major storm on the island, an island where I lived. And after the storm, all kinds of trees were uprooted and animals from the sea were thrown up on the beaches. It was truly catastrophic. And as this guy was walking down the beach, he saw a young boy up ahead doing something and he couldn't figure out what he was doing. And as he got closer, he watched the boy throwing something into the water. And when he finally got up to the boy, he said, "What are you doing?" He says, "I'm throwing seahorses back into the water. I'm throwing starfish back into the water." And the old man said to the boy, "There are hundreds and hundreds out here. That doesn't matter." And the boy held a starfish up and said, "It matters to this one."
To this one. Mm,
That's that's what we have to do. It matters to
to
each
this one.
child, to
Yes,
this
it
one.
does.
So that's part of our mission. At the end of the day, if we have helped one child,
Yes, absolutely.
I go home and drink my Jack Daniels. I'm not shy about that. Go home, take a sip, and say, "This was a good day. Good
But
day."
you know, that is so, I am that one in
Yep.
my DuSable High School career, because if it was not for the teachers, Miss Leggett, Idris Adams, and Jeff Baker, they literally saved my life. And they made sure that, because no one in my family came to my graduation, they were like, "We got to get you out of here." Miss Leggett was like, "If we don't get you out of Chicago, you're going to die." But
Yep.
she didn't just say it. She went and found a college. She paid for me to take the PSAT. The security guards got my luggage, and the who is it? The lady in the office bought my airline ticket. One, she had no idea. I had no idea what she saw
Right,
in me.
right.
I had no idea. But I promise you, I live by that. I live by save one, and that one will go out and make a difference for a multitude.
So you will hear me tell that starfish story again and again
I
because it
appreciate
makes a
it every
difference.
single time. Yes.
And you and I are both. I mean,
Yep.
I'm going to tell it today, but I have that same kind of story where somebody saw something and
Yep.
invested.
Yep.
So, to whom much is given, much is expected. You
That's
know
right.
that. So that's why we're here tonight.
That's
That's why we're
right.
here today. That's why we're
Hmm.
here in the afternoon spreading the message. To whom much is given, much is expected. I have been taught that my goal, my mission, is to take the message that I have learned and do not be stupid with it, Wallace, and
Absolutely.
share it. you, come on, girl. You know what you've given me an opportunity to almost to rattle on, and it's not over yet. I haven't even hit talking
No, we
about
have a
other.
few more. We have about another 20 minutes. And you know what's great about this though is that we get to share this over and over and over, with the people, your constituents, people all over, because you said some things that we do need to take snippets from, and then develop them out. The idea that you talked about with the landlords and the teachers, that, man, that's solid. That is so real and so needed. It would inspire so many schools to do something different, because they will have quality teachers that aren't struggling paying their rent.
Let's go to the much more aggressive side of me and say we need to aggressively pursue gun smugglers. In other words,
Ah,
we need to go Elliot Ness on their ass.
yes. Yes.
Elliot Ness. My young people go, Elliot Ness. I'm like, the untouchables. They're like, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Come on. We, that 17-year-old who shoots someone, I'm not saying they should get off. We obviously need to deal with that child who has
Yeah.
made that error. But where did they get the
Because they
gun?
can't afford to buy them.
Right, right. Where did they get the gun? We need to go after those gun smugglers, and like Elliot Ness went after the bootleggers back in the day.
I'm with
And
you on that.
I'm sorry if some people will be offended about human rights, but you know what? Listen to the news. The first 15 minutes of the news every day is how many people got shot. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We need to go Ellie Ness on their ass. End
Hmm.
of conversation.
Yeah.
So while we're improving our education system, protecting the little ones growing up, while we're offering alternatives, not in sequence, but simultaneously for kids on the streets, we need to go after the influence who is leading them in that direction and squash them. We need to deal with the folks who have mental issues and are not managing them well. But bottom line, I keep going. We are blessed where we live. I grew up with the lake being part of,
Yes.
oh
Come
my God.
on.
I was a kid who grew up in Woodlawn, and I believed that your mind expanded until it hit a solid object. So I would go sit on the lake and think about the possibilities because I couldn't see anything out there
Mm,
stopping my imagination.
that's right.
I cannot. When I think back, I go, "My God, Wallace, you were pretty hip in when you were 18, 16. You know, like you
Yes.
thought." I also believe that years ago I said I wanted to retire to a college town near the water, and
Mm,
suddenly one day I realized I'm here.
there you are. You
That
said it. You created it. Yep.
that's right. That is exactly right. And again, there's a value to being around an academic community. They bring things that you might not normally feel, but the lake is like an ocean. It is a place where we can throw out our emotions, our feelings, and our thoughts
Mm-hmm.
and not worry about the repercussions.
Oh, that's right. I love that lake. I mean, it's something about being able to go over and just listen to the waves come up to the shore, and
Yep,
if you can breathe with it, you
yep,
can
yep.
just release all of your tension. Yes.
So the two last things that drive me is that I think we put our lakefront and our parks too low on our priority list.
Okay.
And not, I mean, how can you, it's hard to say that when somebody gets shot. You're worrying about the lake, and I'm worried about a child who got killed. You're
Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
right. So it's hard to have that conversation together. Actually, Freudian slip. That confrontation,
Oh,
not
wow. Okay. Come on.
because I mean, how can I explain that to a mother, a family member? There is no comparison. And yet,
None.
at the same time, when I think in terms of longevity, we must protect the lake. We must protect the Point, 67th Street, the South Shore Nature Conservation or Resource. What is that? Resource.
With the one on 71st? Which one?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
Resource. It's
Center? Is it the resource center?
nature or resource sanctuary.
Oh,
I
it
need to.
probably is the sanctuary. Mm-hmm.
We need to protect it because, again, when our children ask for options, alternatives, we need to include that as part of their learning opportunity. We can't.
Yes.
But that goes to my final thing of my 7 goals when I become alderman. Not if,
Mhm.
when. The seventh goal is to train the next generation how to speak City Hall, South
Okay.
Side,
Mm-hmm.
Arts, and the University of Chicago. To train the next generation how to be bridge builders, not cul-de-sac builders. Okay, I'm
Keep
not going there.
everybody away. We don't want anybody over here. I don't
I'm
want
not
to be
going there,
there.
but bridge builders.
Yeah.
How to teach the next generation to be conductors on the railroad to success. But last but not least, teach the next generation how to write our story. History is nothing more than his story.
That's right.
I want help me because you are there. You have that connection with young folks and folks who are committed to telling the story. How do we tell our story?
Yeah.
I want to be part of our story, our story.
I love that. That is so powerful. I know we have a short time to get to this long road. I'm talking about your election, right? But at the same time, you know, there are people listening that may want to uh, participate. You know, you may have said something that they were inspired by it, that they want to join forces, you know, or they want to contribute. How can people actually engage with you in this campaign? Or wait, we haven't got to the campaign yet, though, right?
All right. There are three ways that I encourage people to get involved. And it's old school. It's like, how do you build a board of directors? You want the three W's. You want people with wisdom, you want people who are workers, and you want people who have wealth. Wisdom, I want people who can advise me. You know, I'm not a politician. I've never done this before. Come on. You know, I need people to say, well, Wallace, here's how you work politics. So we need wisdom. How do you market what you're doing? You have given me a platform that I never imagined. I'm so serious. I mean, like, somebody said, do you want to be on a talk show? I'm like, well, I don't know. They're like, come on, I don't do that for a living. They're like, yes, he wants to be on the talk show. I'm like, okay, I'll do it, you know. So you have wisdom because you were helping market my message.
Yeah.
Our workers, people like my daughter has become my campaign manager because she's a stay-at-home mom. She's like, this is great. I drop your grandson off at school in the morning and I work for you all day. I pick him up. What more could a mom ask
What
for?
more could, and it's perfect. Yeah, I love working with her.
I love that she has stepped up. I gotta give a shout out to my daughter Kim Moore,
That's
campaign
right.
manager. But workers, and then I have friends who run businesses that are very successful in what they do. They're like, Wallace, I don't have the time to do anything. Okay, I will write you a check.
Yeah.
End of conversation. Okay, I will write you a check. So wisdom, workers, and wealth. So I ask people, here is what I need right now. Right now, today. What's today? Today is
October
Tuesday.
25th. It's
Tuesday,
Tuesday.
Tuesday,
Yep.
October 25th.
Yep.
I need two, I need three kinds of people. I
Okay.
need people who will go to my website, which is wallacegoode.com, and say, I want to volunteer and I'm receptive to your ideas. That's
Oh,
what it
wow. Yeah.
means that I might want to work on education and finding a landlord who's willing to give their unit at cost to a teacher.
Yeah.
It might mean that I'm willing to work on finding alternative programs in my community that could be transported to the Fifth Ward for young people, whether
That's
it's
right.
golf. Think about it. We have a shortage of lifeguards in Chicago, yet
Mm.
we have the Southside YMCA, which is where my son learned to swim,
Yep.
to the junior guard program at 71st Street,
Mm.
to the need for lifeguards. Come on,
That's
train
right.
our young people who need to learn to swim and jobs that they can keep the rest of their lives if they
Yep.
wanted to.
Yep.
But I digress. I digress. You know, I get excited, you know.
I know, right?
Um, but
Well,
we need to
I
figure.
do have a passion. I want, you know, I think young people should learn how to swim. They need
So
to
do
learn how
I. So do I.
to
And my son, who is a lifeguard, being a lifeguard, swimming is one of the few activities that a it is the perfect job when you're in college.
swim. Yeah.
I told my son before you register for your classes, before you register for classes, go to the athletic department and show them you're a certified lifeguard. During orientation, colleges need lifeguards to test freshmen. There's
Wow.
It's a job. He got hired the day he went there. They're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, you need lifeguards. I'm like, it's one of the few things that you can continue the rest of your life. I
Yeah.
don't know brothers in their 40s and 50s who continue to play football, maybe
Nope.
basketball, but you can swim the rest of your life as a great activity to keep you in shape. And in college and beyond, you can make money at it.
That's right. Yeah.
So economic development, alternatives to the streets. So I ask people, I need people who will volunteer to help me champion those programs. That's one of three. The second is I need signatures.
Okay.
And this is real specific and unique. And it may mean, and I'm saying this publicly, that because I'm trying this approach, I might not even get on the ballot. God forbid. But the way we get signatures for the ballot is we stand on corners and accost people, asking them for a signature.
Right.
Plain and simple. Here's my approach. I'm hosting a series of events called Sign and Meet the Candidate. I
Mm-hmm.
want you to come and have a cup of coffee and a cookie with me, sign my petition so that I get on the ballot to have this fight. And here, although anybody who listens to your show, they heard it all. I don't think I can say more about what I want to do, but they're going to be sign and greets and it'll be on my website, but it'll be a chant. They'll be at the Cove, they'll be at the Hyde Park Art Center, and they'll be at 2226 East 71st Street Studio. So,
Mm-hmm.
four different places where you can come and have light refreshments, sign my petition to help me get on the ballot, which will enable me to continue this presentation through the election. So, that's the second place. Come sign my petition. The third and final place, let's be real. I need you to donate. I don't care what you donate, 10 to 1,000. Okay, 1,000 would be exciting, but 10 to 1,000, I need finances because everything I'm doing is designed to get the word out. I don't ask large corporations for money. I don't ask the political party for money. I don't ask major donors for money. I ask the community, give me 10, 100, whatever, to help me get the message out. The message is everything we've talked about today. The name is Wallace Goode from Fifth Ward, Albany.
Yay! I love that. And you know, Wallace, when people actually come to these events and they get to meet you and talk with you and see the realness, the authenticity. I mean, because you know, you're not a politician. You are a real person that has passion about the issues that you're speaking about. And whether you win or not, although we're going for the win, you're still going to have that passion. You're not doing
Absolutely.
this just to be in position. And that's what's different.
And I'm learning that. That's hard for me to learn because that's hard for me to learn. When I say I believe this, like, oh, you're full of it. You believe this? I'm like, yeah, man, I really believe this. Like, come on, Wallace. I'm like, no, I really believe it. They're like, you're naive. I'm like, I may be. But you know what? I've always been an insider who made a difference.
Yeah.
I'm willing to invest. I'm willing to invest. I'm willing to invest. An insider who can make the difference.
And I prefer the naivete. I like to be I love my naive self. I tell people all the time, I say, hey, you know, whatever. Okay, if I believe in unicorns and, you know, purple skies and clouds, so what? I mean, there's a part of me that know that they're not real, but I can still participate in a world where there's peace, love, and harmony, and then work to create that for everybody.
Yep.
Somebody has to be able to see beyond all of this stuff that has the rest of us buckled in and just waiting to what? Expire?
Yep. You're still there.
It's more
So,
than that.
so you know what I need? I need people. We're going to host an event right on 71st Street, right in the Hyde Park Art Center, at a couple of pubs. I need people to come and sign my petition to get me on the ballot. That's all it is. Your signature says we believe that he should be part of the debate. That's what signing the petition means. We believe that his message deserves a platform in the debate. So
Yes.
that's what I'm asking for right now by November 21st.
Well, oh, we have some time. Very good. I love that
Dude,
because that, we can have a lot of signing greets, signing meets. We can have,
yep.
you listen a few, but there are going to be a lot more. And,
God.
I just love that you agreed to do this show with me because you're like, what? We're doing what mood? When? I'm going to be where?
You're so right. I'm like, oh my God.
And Kim is probably going, what did my dad just agree to? Okay.
She will critique it. I'm sure she'll
Yes,
like,
and
I
she'll
can't
get us
believe what
ready
you
for the
said.
next one because once
Right.
we get you on the ballot, I will bring you back. We
Thank you.
will talk
Thank you.
about the focus of the campaign. We will talk about how to develop the different ideas that are going to make. I lived in Vegas for the last few years, right? And when I came back to Chicago, you know who took me under their wing? Diane. She's like,
Absolutely.
this is what we're gonna do. And
Diane,
she called Rita. You ready? We get ready to.
oh my God, I hear it. I hear Diane say
she, you know, and Diana have a client. Well, okay, we can't do that this morning. We're doing this afternoon. She's not.
that.
She's not. you know. But that's what I need because I too have a lot of passion and I do want to make a
Yep.
difference. So I need people who also have that same level of enthusiasm. And so when she introduced me to you, it's like, yeah, this is what we're doing.
This is what we're do. As one of my boys who you will meet always says, it's what we do.
Is what we do.
That's all he says. It's like, it's what we do. I'm
Yeah.
like, you go, young brother. Young brother. It's what we do.
Well, Wallace, I want to thank you, and I do want to give you the last few minutes. What do you have any final thoughts that you want to say to the listeners, just even about this experience? And you know, I just love the fact that you gave us a vision that we can probably begin to see. And most people don't realize that if we can imagine it, we can create it. So, do you have any final thoughts?
Um, one, thank you for the opportunity. I mean, there's no greater statement than I can say than thank you for
You're
the
welcome.
opportunity.
Yes.
Two, as I send the message out, whenever I used to speak, before I would open my mouth, I would ask myself, what can I say that will capture the imagination of the people that I'm talking with enough to encourage them to come back to me?
Mm.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm throwing it out. This is the vision I'm hearing. There are young people, there are old people, there are disenchanted people, there are excited, passionate people who want to make a difference. And I believe that this is the time to do that. So, my challenge, I wish I had a catchy phone number. like, remember, what was the car? 533-2700.
No, that's not it.
Sorry, Magic Kiss. They all had catchy phone
They
numbers.
sure did.
But I would reach out to Vote Wallace at wallacegoode.com. Vote Wallace. Simple phrase, my email, Vote Wallace at wallacegoode.com, and help me operationalize this vision. Because it's not my vision, it's
Mm.
the vision of people who have shared with me over the years, some of them in desperation, saying, I believe you will carry the ball across the goal line. So I want to be a part of that.
Yeah. I want to be a part of that too. And
Good.
I really do appreciate uh, just the timing of this because the world does need, I'm saying the world, because, when you shine a light on something, right, it glows and it will glow brighter and brighter and brighter because everybody needs to start looking at it. We're all difference makers. And at Master Force, we do call ourselves the difference makers. So, again, thank you. And thank you, listeners, for your time, your energy, your attention. And I want you to enjoy this house music as we go out. And as we always say here, you keep mastering your life force. We'll see you guys next time. All right? Enjoy the rest of your day.
Mm-hmm.